All right, crew, today we're talking about the good stuff, how to get strong. Now, there are a lot of ways to skin the cat when it comes to getting strong. There's tons of methodology out there. There are ways to do your rest. There are ways to execute your sets. There are ways to even go through specific movement selection. And if you guys are looking to get stronger without a formal assessment or a coach's guidance like things that we provide for our Brood athletes, that's okay. But what I'm gonna do is try to educate you on maybe a general template that you can utilize to help approach getting strong in that way. So first things first, you gotta know where you're weak, right? Is it pulling off the floor? Is it squatting? Is it pressing with your upper body, or is it pulling? Maybe it's a combination of all, because the truth is most of you that are watching are gonna take the time to watch this video is that you'd like to see increases in performance in each one of those measures or each one of those movement functions. So the big thing that you're gonna wanna hang your hat on is intensity through your strength training. A lot of people look at a Metcon when they walk into a CrossFit gym and it scares them and they're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be hard, there's gonna be pain involved. But very rarely do you look at a back squat workout that says 5x5 and it starts to get the butterflies moving in your stomach. But the truth is that it should. And there's great results that are gonna stem from strength training with high intensity. Often, a 5 set of 5 style workout with back squats is gonna be approached like, okay, I'm gonna do a little warming up, I'll do some squatting, get my knees, my hips moving well, and then I'm gonna start my first set at 135. My next set might be 185. My next set might be 205 or 225, and then the next 2 sets are gonna be really hard for me. I'm gonna go 265 and then maybe 275. The truth is this athlete maybe did 1, maybe 2 working sets. So when you go into strength training, it doesn't matter what the rep scheme is, it doesn't matter how much volume you're accumulating. If you really want great results, all the working sets that you read on a template or on a workout program or that you're programming for yourself, you want to account for true working sets. What that looks like is when you step to the bar, or you step that bar out from the rack, is that you're almost second guessing if you can make 5 reps happen, right? We want to think about maximal contractile potential with our muscles. We want to move maximal loads, and we want to also optimize time under tension. We only do this by training to our true potential. That means some sets out of 5 out of 5, you may only get 4. And in some sets, you may feel like you had a 6, and on those sets, on the next one, you want to go up just a notch. Right? And if you think you can get 5 sets of 5 and you execute all 25 reps to perfect or perfection, then we need to reassess where we were dialing in either the percentages that we got based on 1 rep max or that we just perceived as difficult. And we want to switch that, because if you never approach failing in strength training, then we know that we're really not getting the most out of our body's potential. The next thing is movement selection. And when it comes to movement selection, most of you are going to get the best bang for your buck by moving large loads long distances. And the ironic thing is that CrossFit by nature includes these movements. So think movements like the back squat, the front squat, the thruster. Yes, the thruster, it can be a great strength building movement. The clean and jerk, the snatch, and the deadlift. These lifts, while not specifically focusing on any one muscle group, are going to involve your entire body. You can categorize these into more lower body focused movements or more upper body focused movements, but the goal is to be touching on one of these movements each training session. And you can break it into lower body focus days. Maybe you roll in and on Monday you're going to do a pulling variation of a deadlift and a back squat, and then maybe you go into smaller muscle groups where we're going a step up or a lunge or a lateral lunge, some type that would be almost considered accessory. And then the next day you focus more on upper body lifts, and maybe the upper body lifts are going to be speed dominant to start, where it'll be like a jerk or a split jerk. We then go into a press with less lower body involvement of like a strict press or a dumbbell strict press or an alternating strict press, and then you might need to get into smaller, more specific accessories such as a high pull or a raise of some sort for the shoulders, ring dips to condition local body muscle endurance in regards to gymnastic style training as well. So there are, again, a ton of ways to skin the cat, but what you want to focus on when it comes to movement selection are the big muscle multi-joint movers that are going to incorporate almost your entire body. At least 1 or 2 movements a day should reflect this. This also gets the most out of muscle recruitment, but also hormones. And the way that we respond to the barbell and moving those internal loads or external loads are going to be great in regards to benefits. Another thing to consider is time under tension. And this is big for those of you that are new to strength training, right? It's not always best to jump in and just do 3x3 and 3-2-1 and 5-4-3-2-1, because there's not a lot of time under the bar. For you, if you're out there trying to master movement, think about lightening the loads a touch. Now, I'm not saying it should be easy when you do a set of 10, but what I'm saying is that set of 10 should be hard and you should start second guessing your decision around 8, but we want about that kind of time under tension under the bar. It should take you close to a minute to do a set. And this is where tempo work comes in. So if you're new to the sport, if you're new to some of these movements, and even if you're deep in your off season of where you need to peak in the future, let's say you're preparing for the 2019 CrossFit Open, right now is a great time for you to add in overhead squats with a tempo where it's taking you 4 seconds to descend, 2 seconds to pause, and then you might even stand with a 4-second ascend. Your shoulders are gonna start to wobble, your core is gonna get a ton of work in regards to stabilizing that spine, and your legs are clearly gonna be doing a lot of work. You can operate from sets of anywhere from 6 to 10 reps for these, and make sure that you're resting close to maximal recovery so that you can ensure that you're gonna get the most intensity from the working set. You guys can use tempos in bench press, strict press, push jerk, everything you can imagine. And the goal is create a longer time under tension. It's gonna help strengthen positions, and it's great for connective tissues. The next thing with getting strong is really simple. How are you recovering? You need to sleep. You need to eat. Now, I'm not gonna give you guys a specific diet to follow, but here are the gist of it. You gotta eat as much whole, real food as possible. You can't skimp on the carbs, right? If you're out there and you're on the war on carbs, that's okay, that's your decision. If you're fighting to stay in ketosis, do you. My advice is you eat a pretty close to a well-rounded macronutrient content, or you think about having the bulk of your calories come from carbohydrates, and then enough protein to recover, and then enough fats to sprinkle in that energy so that you can stay satiated throughout the day and also sleep well and recover through sleep. The next thing is that you've got to drink a ton of water, right? And I say that because that's clearly what our muscles are made out of. A byproduct of you getting stronger should be about packing on some size as well. Although I don't like to reverse the two. A lot of athletes come to me talking about, Coach, I need to get big and I need to get strong. And I'm like, first, let's focus on making you strong. And if the big is the adaptation that needs to take place, it's all good. So make sure that you guys are prioritizing those strength gains over the size gains, because if we can stay small and get really strong, that's even more ideal for a sport like most of us are pursuing in CrossFit. So make sure that as you guys end your day of eating and fueling through water, that then you're going to also focus on sleep. And what I'm gonna ask you for is a minimum of 8 hours. There are small differences in where some people thrive, where it's like 7.5, or it might be 9 or 6.5 versus the 8, and that's okay. It has to work for your lifestyle. But my advice to you is to set a routine, have a clock that's gonna send you, or an alarm that's gonna send you to bed or start your nighttime routine consistently, and don't skimp on the weekends and think this is just an easy way out. Because here's my feedback over the years of me as a training athlete. If you do whatever you want on Saturday and Sunday night, when it's time to get back to your routine, it's really hard. You don't fall asleep in bed at the right time, or you just notice that the debt of sleep that you've occurred throughout the weekend, it's just thrown off every other kind of energy cycle that you go through, even if it's in training or just your day at work. So be consistent with nutrition and sleep, guys. Think about movement selection. Big muscle movers is the goal. The deadlift, the back squat are two that you can definitely hang your hat on in order to help all your lifts go up. Time under tension is something that we want to have exposure to, and then make sure that you guys are recovering optimally so that you can actually get these results and they show within your training. So that's my one-on-one on how to get strong.